Okay, hi there, welcome to this live premiere. Welcome if you are currently here. Be sure to share your thoughts, opinions, reactions in the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen. For other people that may be watching later on catch up, let me know your thoughts or questions down below under this video in the comment section. By the title of this video, I don't know who it will attract or who will appear from the woodwork, good or bad, dodgy or abstract, but it's like a bit of experimentation. But one thing that remains consistent and hasn't changed since is the focus of the topics, right? YouTube streets, once true crime community, once Dylan Rounds community. You've seen where it's branched from, you've seen the origins of where it originated, the different types of YouTube channels out there which you may be familiar with, follow or once followed, or maybe areas where you interact with because there are other people present, right? We don't need to go deep on named individuals, but as a range of people probably are familiar with, it's the theme and topic today of competition, trying to outdo one another in channel statistics, views, likes, subscribers, live viewers, and then bashing one another and critiquing and maybe ridiculing as well. It's all very unnecessary and it is pretty childish, okay? The reason why I want to comment on it today is because I've been doing YouTube much longer than most of those people have. They may be older than me, they may have more experience elsewhere in life, but regards to YouTube, I've been around a fair bit, I've seen a lot, and in a way I've done a lot because I've uploaded a range of different videos, I've seen what works, what doesn't, what flops, right place, right time, luck, chance, and sometimes, because I planned it out correctly, I've seen it all, okay? And I've seen the growth, mostly positive. Yeah, at times negative, and I've documented it as well. But it's the way other people react to that type of stuff, right? When it comes to creating a YouTube channel, at first, it's personal. It's for you. You're building it for yourself. And then maybe down the line, building a platform or a community so more people can gather and join together if that's what you want. You may be doing it just as a hobby, an activity, all about you. You just want to upload videos, gameplay. You're interested in reading or entertainment, sharing with a broader range other people. It can change, it can branch depending what your mindset is. I was doing YouTube way back at the start. I just did it because I thought, well, other people have. I'll give it a try, see if it actually does work. But from 2013 up to just the beginning of 2020, not once, not for a second was I thinking I would do well. Not once. Nor was I thinking I would get anywhere with YouTube, because 2013, early 2020, getting nowhere. Was I putting in enough effort and hard work? Nowhere near compared to nowadays, and in terms of frequency, that was almost non-existent. But you know, when you're first starting off, no matter how long it takes, it's kind of like a guessing game. You might do stuff you enjoy or interested in. Doesn't mean to say it's going to work out. Doesn't mean to say it's going to suddenly bring in a wide range of people. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to YouTube, the platform, the algorithm itself. If you're in favor or like a lucky dip, the lottery, your numbers come up, your video is going to be promoted, put on the homepage, millions of people will click on it like how they do with any other video on front page, whether because they want to or accidental, they click, and then you get a lot of views, and maybe, just maybe, some people will stick around. You see often viral videos from 5 to 10 years ago, 20 million views. It's suddenly become popular all of a sudden. The algorithms reached out to that channel. Now that channel is probably no longer active, nor can they be bothered making videos, but they get lucky. They hit the jackpot. Do they do much with it? Most of the time, no. Some people try and get on board of it, if something's worked, and then they try to upload more videos afterwards, and it just doesn't quite work. it loses momentum. It was a one-hit wonder. And to be honest, one-hit wonders, as exciting as it can be early on, long-term, you're going to be back to square one. So it's not that great. Steady growth is where it's all at. And in terms of the factor of growth, that's another form of competitiveness and comparing, which people do in the YouTube streets. You know, if you're not growing, you're failing. If you're not keeping a steady amount of numbers, you're not having a steady concurrent view rate on your live streams, you're failing. All kinds of stuff like that. We can analyze, we can identify a bit later on today, and the whole subscriber to view count ratio. There's so many people in the YouTube streets that don't understand how YouTube works or the lifespan, the life cycle of a YouTube channel. There's many inexperienced people in the YouTube streets who are somewhat creators. They do the live streams, they do the live call-ins and panels, but they just don't understand, okay? They think they do, they think they know the numbers, they think that they're doing well, or they think that someone else is doing bad, but that's not always the case. I'm here to clear it all up. I'm here to, in a way, set the record straight. And this is personally based on one's own experience, but a great depth of it, okay? Rich in experience when it comes to YouTube, because I've done it much longer than most of these people have combined together, okay? First of all, the misconception what people have on the YouTube streets, okay, would be, does somebody have a channel or not? Many people say they don't, but technically they do. We'll get further into that in just a second. I just want to highlight some key points before I forget, okay? So, shout out to Cleo, shout out to Skeptical, shout out to a few other people last night and in recent time, like Sasquatch as well. Very good of them. And of course Cleo, and of course Skeptical too. So as for Skeptical, just as a heads up, you know, people watching right now may have wondered, where is Skeptical? They're doing somewhat okay, just busy with some things in the background. But when they can, they are still watching along in the background. So Skeptical hasn't disappeared. It's all okay there, okay? And as for Cleo, I'll try and remember. I'll do a response later on in this video, the light-hearted one, okay? Because I know you said you wanted a bit of focus. And I won't go into too much depth right now because we need to talk about the formal important points first, but we'll get to that later. Now, if you are interested in the last video that I did do though, and the one before that, be sure to click top right corner of the screen, that I symbol. You click on that, you'll be redirected to a range of different videos for you to catch up on, including the one last night, which was a birthday live premiere of mine. It was my birthday yesterday. It went well. It was a good day, and it was good that, you know, small amount, but a good range of people, good individuals that were present in the live premiere last night. And it was kind of like a funny video. So if you need that, you're interested in a light-hearted one, be sure to check that out. And even down below in the pinned comment section, there's some links there if you wish to check them out, if you want to, and alternative ways if you want to support the channel. But that aside, the title of this video, why did I call it YouTube Streets? Considering I don't like the line, I find it cringy, it feels dodgy, it feels dirty, right? YouTube Streets, red light district, what's going on there, right? But if people relate to it, that's what most people know it as, then I'll just use it quoting, and that's all, okay? When I refer to YouTube, I just call it YouTube. There's different communities, categories on YouTube, and different communities, all on the same platform. But the YouTube Streets, I guess, is defined as a category where all the drama occurs. So instead of always calling it drama, Dylan Rounds case drama, Dylan Rounds community drama, whilst, yeah, back then it was relevant, it's drifted away, hasn't it? And such as the true crime community drama, that's shifted. Because nowadays, these channels that may have originated from the Dylan Rounds case, were created because of it or influences of others, they just don't really go on about it anymore. So they've got their own section on YouTube, which is just hangouts, hanging out, and some people bashing one another and defending, attack and defend, how it's always been, just in a different area on YouTube, which maybe isn't exactly a bad thing. And people have coined the term YouTube streets. That's where all the rough, the drama, the conflict occurs. Okay? So if it works tonight, if it brings in a range of different people, well, that's good. If it's a flop, well, then we don't need to do it again, okay? I don't have to use the term YouTube streets exactly, right? The only reason why I used specific terms in the past on a case, a name of a case, because that's where the problem was within or about the case itself. So defending it, setting the record straight. This is a completely different environment, right? But in terms of the knowledge, that's under control, okay? So this video could be bridging the gap between true crime and mysteries. In the middle, its own thing, right? Just like the discussions in the past. I do find that the worthwhile doing because there's no rat race, there's no rush, there's no factors of urgency. It can be done in a calm, relaxed way, which is obviously a good thing. And what's talked about and said could help people out there listening on in right now and the past videos, okay? So, with that all being said, whether it be the Dylan Rounds community, as it was mentioned in the past, because that's where I first heard it, and it still applies nowadays. A lot of people watching right now, those other communities out there, okay? Bob, Twin, JT, Pancakes, and much more, okay? Anytime I mention those names in brief, just so people know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? And what people have said in the past. Mainly viewers. It's mainly viewers that have said a certain line which is incorrect, okay? And I just want to clear everything up as we go along the way, so be sure to listen. Over time, a lot of people have said, I'm not a creator. I don't have a channel, okay? I'm just here watching. I'm just here listening. I'm just here chatting and leaving comments. Let me make one thing very clear. The only way you can leave a comment in the live chat, in the comment section, and maybe some additional features such as a playlist possibly, to be able to do those type of things, mainly leaving comments, you have to have a YouTube channel. You have to have a Google account which is linked and paired with YouTube, which then automatically creates a default YouTube channel in which you've then got the choice to upload videos to your channel if you want to, or just simply change your profile picture, right? I guess most people just keep it default. So that's the first misconception. If you're commenting on people's videos or you're leaving comments in live chats, you do have a YouTube channel, okay? A lot of people on the back pedal say, no, 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 I don't have a channel. Wrong, you do, okay? Are you able to not have a YouTube channel, to be signed out, not signed in to anything? What can you do if you don't really have if you don't have a channel on YouTube? Well, you can watch videos, but that's all you can do. You can't really interact to the same extent. All you can do is watch videos and no interaction, okay? So for all the people that interact on YouTube, they all have a YouTube channel, whether they like it or not. Now, the talk on whether they're a creator or not, well, obviously they're not a creator, are they? A content creator, because there's no content on their channel. As for being a part of, let's say, the YouTube Partner Program, there'll be creators that are uploading videos, right? But they're not a part of the YouTube Partner Program. To be a part of the YouTube Partner Program, the real thing, you still need 1,000 subscribers and about 4,000 hours of watch time. Yes, it's been reduced to about 500 subscribers, but that's not to the full extent of the true YouTube Partner Program, okay? To unlock everything, you still need 1,000 subscribers, and you need to apply and be approved, in which there is a human review done upon your own channel to make sure it follows guidelines, because if it doesn't, you will be rejected. And the next time you can reapply, I think might be within the next 30 days. And then maybe after that, if it goes wrong, within the next 90 days, right? So if you are in a rush and in a hurry and you mess it up, or your application is denied, you'll have to wait months until the next time you can do it, right? I think it's the same with when some people may lose their status a part of the YouTube Partner Program for numerous reasons, and then when they're trying to reapply or reappeal, that can take months as well, but that's down the line. So do you see the hierarchy? Okay, at the bottom you've got people that just watch but they don't interact. You don't need to have a channel, you don't need to be signed in to do that stuff. You can be a viewer, second tier or third tier, where you can comment, you can interact, right? But you may not upload videos, but you do have a channel. Then the second tier, you've got the creators that may interact, have their own channel, upload videos onto the channel, but they're not a part of the program on YouTube. Then you've got people at the very top who are part of the YouTube Partner Program, content creator, full-time or not, and they do the videos, they grow in different ways, but they can also interact. That's how it works on YouTube, but there's many people that don't understand that, right? Now, is it because they're just not all about YouTube? They're not thinking about it. They're not thinking about growing. They're just casually joining on in. Audience members, of course, right? They're just here to have a good time or go wherever. They're not all about reaching milestones and bridging the gap and growing in that direction. No, they're already busy. They've got responsibilities in the background and just passing a bit of time in between, maybe just having fun, which is fine. But you got all the creators from these communities that created the communities in the first place. These creators who don't understand the concept. You could say that's worrying in a way. I don't think it's worrying because it's not the end of the world, but it shows that they're lacking in understanding, right? So what we need to move on to next, I guess, would be, let's talk about the competitive part just in general, okay? The theme of it. Yes, I've talked about being competitive in delivering news, covering topics before other people do. That's a rat race. Wanting to be on top, wanting to be the first person to report on the scene. How that applies on YouTube can be how it applies in real life. If you've got these different journalists, different groups, paparazzi, whatever it may be, they want to get there first, get in, first in line, get what they need, exit, post online, publish, whatever. And obviously, other people are in the same position as well. So it can get a little bit nasty, it can get a little bit bitchy depending, and people may start shoving, pulling, whining, complaining. On YouTube, it's more verbal, right? And at times when it feels like one person may be more successful, the other may try and drag that channel down by spreading false lies or causing and planting some kind of disruption within that community. So it causes an implosion, the progress halts, and then the other channel ends up growing and, you know, passing by the stagnated one. So it's like constant back and forth, right? So that can be in the competitiveness of creating content. But in terms of the competitiveness of material between one channel and another, I guess this is a side thing which needs to be acknowledged, and it's not so much based on my experience because I don't really participate in the first place to that extent. A range of YouTube channels, okay, on the YouTube streets, they will use one another, whether there's an agreement, a formal one, a casual agreement, or not. Maybe there's no agreement. But either way, people can respond back to one another, and it can be an endless cycle, okay? And normally the endless cycle tends to be negative, which the overall theme tends to be about drama between one another or different communities at each other's necks. And whilst it can be bad and people can get hurt, sometimes the creator themselves having it out with another creator or more, they're all kind of benefiting, right? Whether they acknowledge it or not, people in the YouTube streets are benefiting. And because it bounces about and it rebounds so often, and that benefiting in different ways, whether it be growing or maintaining active audience members, or even getting donations or receiving support for kind of not in the natural way, but more out of because people may feel sorry for you. That's type of thing. But maybe the creator is like, oh, play the violins, but at the same time, let's respond back to this person, respond back to that person. Kind of suffer but gain at the same time. It's a life support machine, right? Those in the YouTube streets who are constantly going back and forth with one another, and even those channels out there that may say, we're not all about that, we're just responding back when there is a case, but then they'll spend 4 hours talking about it, going over it over and over and mentioning those names. Why can't it be addressed, acknowledged, cleared up in one single go? Then it would reduce the amount of time spent on those people, those topics, what they're talking about, right? But some may feel trapped, okay? Some channels, creators, communities, where they want to move forwards. But the moment they do, previous creators on the life support machine thinks, oh, the plugs are being pulled. What can we talk about, you know? It's like a tennis match, constantly hitting the ball back and forth. But what if the other person stops hitting it back? You're not receiving anything no more, okay? It's like Betty Hayward, in a light-hearted way, not being serious. Once the payments stop, those parcels are no longer going to be delivered anymore, right? So then you'll be thinking, oh, I'm not getting anything no more. I need to do something. I need to say something about them to get a reaction. So then they respond back, cause that traction, and they may say something bad. So then I can say something back to them. And it's back, forth, back, forth. There might be some genuine people and channels out there in the YouTube streets caught up in it all. Okay, whether they associate with others, which then makes them a target or not. But they feel like as soon as they try and move forwards, others end up pulling those strings, which grabs their attention, and then they're caught back in the endless cycle. But whether people are victims or not, they're all benefiting and they're all staying alive, their channels. Whether they can agree on that, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, that's reality, okay? If it came to elsewhere, where a person's completely shut down or scared off or hurt, damaged, never returned back, one-sided then, isn't it? But for those that always seem to stay afloat, those channels and communities, right? People, even from my community, some branched away and went in that direction because they didn't like drama. And yet look what they're trapped in. They can't even acknowledge it themselves. So kind of a lost cause, right? But as for the actual creator within it all, the biggest winners when it comes to using a life support machine of content and scrapping with one another, it will be the creator themselves. The creator creates content. If they run out of content, damn, what do? Change it up? Cover a new thing? No, they never tend to do that. People on the YouTube streets, they don't tend to change it up. They may change the direction as to who they respond to or call out or defend themselves against, but they're not saying, right, we're going to go from drama to then talking about nature. There's no dedicated shift. There's never a change in direction because maybe they're too afraid that it won't work and all the people that did stick around will end up walking away. And that if people do take a break too long, that the people will end up walking away. Now, this is just a small microcosm, but I remember in the past there was one person commenting on Bob Farrell's channel basically saying, right, you're keeping your head down, don't be scared, don't run away, stick around. We as the viewers are here, and by you not showing up makes it seem like it's not important to you. That's disrespectful. If you carry on doing this, us people won't end up sticking around. We'll move on to the next creator. So by the time you do return back, we would have moved on by then, and you won't have us anymore. That's not exactly loyal, is it? Bit demanding too. It might show how shallow certain audience members are over in those directions, that category on YouTube. The YouTube streets possibly having hollow, shallow viewers that will only stick around with the life support machine content. Once the life support machine is cut off, turned off, where did they go? To another community or just to another channel which is still involved in that? Okay? Now, there's many life support machines out there, different cells, right? So the people that you will know and be familiar with, loggerheads or logheads, locking jaws with one another since 2022 till this day. It hasn't been resolved. People haven't moved on. Maybe a slight direction change or shift in the type of drama talked about or the type of accusations thrown about, but it's still going on till this day, from 2022 onwards. It clearly shows it must be a successful thing, a successful form of content because it retains viewers to those channels and their videos. People always returning back. But still, the creator is the one benefiting from it all because they find that, okay, this drama and conflict works for us, so we'll throw it back right at this other person. Each individual creator may not be directly wanting to help one another out for drama, they're just helping themselves. But individually, they're all benefiting individually. Completely different, but an example. When it came to a certain group on YouTube, some British group YouTubers, collectively known as the Sidemen, group of males in the 20s onwards, and at one point, what year was it, 2016, 2019 onwards, one of the members ended up breaking up, parting ways, known as KSI, and that created a shock, a drift in things, and basically all the people who are unaware of what's really going on, the audience members and further afar, were shocked. And then suddenly there was like response videos made between KSI and the original group. Then there was diss tracks, people rapping, making music videos, calling one another out. All this drama generating a lot of shock and a lot of viewers individually being on the receiving end or not, the YouTubers, the group and the individual person benefiting, getting lots of views on their videos, getting a lot of traction. In the end, it was all fake. It was fake drama, but it worked out for one another in the end. So they all benefited, okay? On the YouTube streets, with the people we know of, they may not be helping one another out, but individually, they're all benefiting in a way, okay? Whether it be gaining super chats out of sympathy, out of support, in defiance of the darkness, or just maintaining that maintaining the regular people showing up and the concurrent viewers during live streams. Because they know it works, they will keep on doing it forever and ever, okay? So when some of those creators out there throw it out in general saying, oh, you're only referring back to us or mentioning our names because you've got no content, but sometimes that can be thrown right back at the person saying it, vice versa. They all need one another. Whether they hate one another or they secretly like one another in the background, they all need one another. That's what creates that bubble on YouTube. The YouTube streets is a bubble encased, a life support machine of drama and conflict, a never-ending cycle, because it benefits one another, so they keep on up with it. So when a channel might get attacked, might get burnt too much, okay, and it might seem like, ooh, that was a bit harsh, that was a bit nasty, that's evil, that's bad, how could someone do that in this sector on YouTube? But don't worry, because what tends to happen, that channel that has been hurt, suddenly there's an outpouring, an outcry of people gathering together, getting together, sending super chats, PayPals, Venmos, GoFundMes, whatever it may be, just chucking it out there. And it's like, well, despite being burnt, looks like you got compensated, didn't you? And then people end up bouncing on back, returning back, and then defending themselves or attacking someone. So back forth, maintain your viewers, maintain your live viewers. Get hurt, get too burnt, don't worry, you get patched up, you get given super chats and all this kind of stuff, and then you bounce back, return, and keep on going back and forth with each channel out there, okay? As I said, there could be like smaller communities involved in drama, conflicts and stuff that may not benefit the same way, but with the people what we know of who are all a part or somewhat a part of the YouTube program or getting there because they've got 1,000 subscribers, they've got things and activated turned on, they are gaining and growing in that way, right? So you could say there's a bit of a manipulation. People know exactly what they're doing. And to refer back to one of the lines where people said, oh, you're just doing this for content because you don't have any of your own. Whilst that's very true within the YouTube streets back and forth, when that line has been thrown at me, a personal response, that's been said, I believe, by Salty Pancakes. It's been said by maybe Bob Farrell or some of his audience members, and even Jim Tay. So the times where I've mentioned one of those names, made a reference, made an analysis because it was either me defending myself against those type of people for something they've done or said, or if it be them causing trouble in the Dylan Rounds case because it was relevant, that's when I made a video. And when I quoted them, it was to credit them or to just say where it came from so people know the provenance of it. But whenever I did that, I was criticised for doing it because I didn't have any content. When you look on my channel, I have over 2,000 videos, okay? And you could argue and say about 1,900 of them to about 2,000 plus are nothing about all these people, okay? Says a lot, doesn't it, right? But if you look at the videos of all these channels out there that are at heads with one another, and some of which have thrown it towards me with that false claim, just about 90% of their videos, their content and references are about drama, conflict, and calling one another out. Thus meaning they rely on it, I don't. I can walk away from it. But I don't have to walk away because I never got involved in the first place, right? But the Dylan Rounds case, I can choose to walk away from it, right? And if at the time there was conflict and drama within the Dylan Rounds case, you walk away from it. I didn't need to, I didn't feel like I had to. I wasn't forced to, so I just did what I did. And when it started getting a bit quieter and there wasn't as much to cover, naturally you shift focus elsewhere, right? Shifting focus, moving elsewhere to a different topic, a different theme, without the worry of failure. But all these people in the YouTube streets aren't, going out their comfort zones or going anywhere else because they know and they need and they rely on drama and conflict. Whether they come off as victims or not, they are relying on it. Okay? Because how many of these channels have branched away and done other stuff in between? They haven't. And if they tried very briefly, it only took a few seconds until there was references made in the live chat, the comment section, which then riled up the creator and then said, do you know what? Let's return back to this conversation and discussion of drama. Let's return back to it because, all this mess going on. See, when I was covering the Kenny Veach case, that's a mystery. That's a missing person mystery. All kinds of talk, all kinds of possibilities. Then I moved on to a missing person case, but it was true crime. And when it's true crime, there might be more facts. There might be a story. It might be more linear, less theories and factors. So you got to follow the script, kind of. So it limits you. It's a change of subject from mystery to true crime. You're not just simply changing in the direction of a named individual you're looking at, which the drama community do. No, I literally changed it up from mystery to true crime, okay? Uncharted territory, never done it before. But I managed and it worked out. It was okay. I tried. All these other people aren't trying because maybe they know it will fail or they're better off doing what they're doing. So it reverts back to their points are invalid. One, the people in the YouTube streets that say, oh, I'm mentioning people's names because I need content, that's invalid because nearly 2,000 of my videos have nothing to do with them and that I have changed the subjects, changed the environment and the topic successfully, which they have never done. Okay? So I guess that clears that up there. I said this is kind of informal. It is kind of casual, may shift and change between certain subjects and talk. But I just want to highlight everything what I remember and hear as one went going along. Okay? So yeah, invalid points there. First of all, invalid points about people saying that they've got no channel. They do, because they leave comments, and in order to leave comments, you need to have an account with Google and YouTube, connect that, which then creates an automatic default channel. So you do have a channel. And for those that say you're using content or referring to our names because you've got no content, original stuff, that's invalid because I've proven I've done many videos, nothing to do with them, but most of their videos between one another has everything to do with one another of them in that community. So they made a prat of themselves there, a plank, a wallop, okay? So that aside, returning back to the competitiveness of, let's say, the viewers, the ratio, right? The ratio to subscribers to viewers. How often people talk about that? Endless. Dylan Rouse community, started hearing about it. Ever since, it's continued, right? Channels trying to outdo one another in numbers. Like TV shows or like companies trying to outdo one another. What would be like a form of entertainment? WWE, AEW. So this will be something Matt Lingo can understand because he's interested in this type of stuff, or was at least, whatever. WWE, more of a flagship company, successful, well-known, long-standing, okay? Okay, it's a bit rough at the moment with the stuff going on in the background with Vince McMahon, but in terms of the company itself, WWE, been around for a long time, well-known, successful. Other companies come along the way, set it up, not done as well. Some may have been dissolved, others just went a bit dead and quiet. You had TNA, Impact Wrestling, which ended up losing the name TNA and was just known as Impact Wrestling or something. And just recently, it's returned back to TNA, almost like the original Total Non-Stop Action. Are they as successful as WWE? No, they've never really been. They did well in the past, but then it went downhill with time. Maybe they've been rejuvenated since, but not to the same height. AEW, back in 2019 or 2018, when it was first founded and got involved, okay? The one in charge of it all, I think, was Tony Khan, but then you had like a vice president, you had, what were they called, EVPs or something. It was like, you had the Young Bucks, you had Cody Rhodes, you had Kenny Omega, the Elite. Those people, wrestlers from other companies that have then all come together to create this new brand, AEW, and it was seen as the rival of WWE. But when it came to shows, or maybe on a Friday night or a Monday night, depending when it was, AEW Dynamite and then AEW Dark or After Dark, AEW Collision. There was like different names of the programs on different days, and more were added with time by AEW. So they were trying to be more competitive towards WWE. WWE would have Monday Night Raw or something, or SmackDown, whether that be a Wednesday or a Thursday or Friday, and then maybe in between NXT and maybe NXT 2.0. So different programs, but with the one brand on different days, and AEW trying to compete, and sometimes competing on the same night, and even comparing previous records to a certain WrestleMania event or SummerSlam, the attendance, how many people showed up to watch it in WWE in that year, and then comparing it to AEW All In or Double or Nothing, how many people showed up for that show? Was it 1 million? Was it 50,000? And that constant competitiveness, trying to outdo one another, or maybe one side trying to prove to themselves more that they're more successful than the other, WWE. And that's what AEW did at the time. That didn't always work out, and maybe it's not been the same since. But especially when doing it on the same night, the same day or so, and you're looking at the TV ratings, which one did better on that night, WWE or AEW? And I guess since it's been WWE, because they're just more well-known, more established, and the main flagship in professional wrestling and sports entertainment, right? But you see that competitiveness at heads with one another, maybe, or more one-sided, trying to outdo one another in ratings, in numbers, maybe money generated, in attendance. It's the same exact thing there, what you see on the YouTube streets. Different channels, kind of like different communities, going at war with one another in name-calling, being nasty, spreading false lies, misinformation, or just simply doing whatever they're doing, talking about whatever, and doing it at the same time another show is on, right? At the end of the day, as I said, you do YouTube, it can be a personal thing, you've got your own personal channel. You shouldn't have to compare to anybody else because it's just not practical, nor is it fun. It can make you feel worse off, right? Just like I've used to try and compare yourself if you was on another platform, Instagram, which is more narcissistic or has more narcissistic people on that platform. Not everyone, but a lot out there, maybe of a younger generation as well. Oh, look at me, I'm on holiday. Oh, look at me, I've got new shoes, I've got a car, I'm putting stuff in my mouth, I'm wearing not much clothing. Narcissistic pieces of shit, piss off, right? Don't need that type of stuff. You want to try and avoid that type of stuff. That competition, that rat race, that putting yourself down, or it naturally happening because you don't quite compare or match their standards or what they're doing. Just very unhealthy. It's not worthwhile. But sometimes you can get trapped or you can get sucked into it, and it can get a bit out of control. It can spiral. So maybe that's what YouTube channels are doing out there on the YouTube streets, where they'll have a show and they say, oh, we've got almost 300 people watching. But then another show at the same time says we've got over 500 people watching. And they're trying to see who can last the longest and who will hold that amount of viewers or not. And if one drops from 500 to 200, the other channel that had the 300 and still have about 300 are saying, oh, look at the channel over there, they've lost about 200 to 300 people. Oh, what a failure. How embarrassing is that? And then laugh and joke, and then the other channel may respond back saying, well, at least we've got natural viewers, yours are all bought or something, or bots. And then the other one responds back saying, no, that's completely fake. So you can see how even when it just comes to competitiveness of channels trying to outdo one another in attendance, in performance, in interactions, even the live chat, the live feed, but that competitiveness can lead to toxicity, it can lead to misinformation, it can lead to misunderstandings, it can lead to conflict, tension, which then obviously regenerates the whole cycle in general of the drama and conflict YouTube streets zone. So different discussions within the community and different actions and just the theme of competitiveness can be the driving factor behind the whole, endless cycle of constantly trying to outdo one another, but really none of them are really getting anywhere. The YouTube streets and certain communities out there that originated from Dylan Round's case and then branched away since, they have a niche okay? How does that compare to me? Well, I'm going to jump on in right now to share with you my experience or my situation so people understand. When it comes to my channel, I do have over 10,000 subscribers, all natural, steady growth. There's other channels out there in the YouTube streets and certain viewers, some toxic people, that say, oh, you got 10,000 subscribers. A couple of people have said, not natural, it's fake, it's being gained in other ways. Just understand, from 2013 to 2024, that's how many years it's taken to get to 10,000 subscribers, okay? It's taken quite some time. So you can understand the natural raw growth. And if people want to be trendy, the grind, okay? The grind to 10K and counting onwards. These other channels in the YouTube streets have about, what, 1 to 2,000, under 3,000 subscribers. Are they really going up in numbers? No. They might go up just a tiny bit, but for most part of it, they're not. Because not really. There's just no like constant flow of people coming on in. It's a niche. It already has everybody around. So these channels are all about trying to maintain those people in the niche, in a gated community. Maybe some come in, but most don't leave. They may move about from channel to channel depending, but to still stay within that sector on YouTube, right? So we're taking that in mind, reverting back to me with 10,000 subscribers and counting. That's the thing with me. I'm always going up. I'm always growing. When there was false misinformation by people, viewers that seem to know more about my channel statistics than myself, even though I'm in control of my channel, some people were falsely saying that Warlike Wrath has lost 22 subscribers. Ha 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 ha. And yet I gained over 200. So even if I did lose 22, I still gained more than what I lost. But I know I didn't lose 22 because I saw it myself in my own statistics and YouTube studio mode, right? Right? The channel owner has access to all the analytics, which anybody else who isn't in control of the channel won't be able to see. So we can all monitor our own channels, our own growth, or our own failures. And how often do people in the YouTube streets document their own failures? They don't. They're just like the people on Instagram, those narcissists where they'll post all the nice photos, all the body photos, all the correct lighting and angles and everything. But what about the dodgy stuff? What about the not so great things? They're not going to show that. It's just like TikTok, all the people getting good luck with football packs and FIFA. They're getting all the best cards. But what about when they get unlucky? What about when they don't do as well? They don't show that. And, you know, to be fair, it can be like a normal thing. When it comes to online, you only want to post the highlights, content that's worthwhile, worth watching. I understand that. But it can also have a side effect where people just believe that that's what everything is supposed to be. Perfect. But it's not. So like, reverting back to the statistics and channels and growth, you might not always be growing. You might be stagnated. You might not be gaining any views or any new subscribers, or you might be going downhill. You might be losing more than what you're gaining, okay? Now, there's been times where I have shown failures where, okay, at times I might have got over 100,000 views per month, up to about 200, nearly 300,000 on the odd month last year or so in 2023. But then there's been other times where it's dropped down to about 40, 30,000 and it's like, oh God, right? Still document it and I still share it so people can see what's happened, good or bad. There's no harm in doing it. Try and be as balanced as possible. And of course, when I do show that, there'll be people in the background that will, I don't know, be pleased by it and turned on because they think, haha, look, that person is doing bad. Now I can go back to the YouTube streets, report back on it and say, see, I was right, the person's failing. They only focus on the failures, not all the other times where one is dominating, okay? You know, if I said, and it is a fact, that I get 1.5 million or more views every year since when? 2021 onwards. That's how it's been. Okay, it's taken time and effort, and it might be more driven by my past videos that still are successful and do well and are still relevant, but there's always that growth, right? There's always people coming on in, new people, which is good. You want new people to come on in. It's refreshing. It's good to see regular viewers as well because it's steady. There's more stability. You may trust people more. You might get on well with those people, and you may need those people when there's other strangers coming on in and new people that might be more troublesome. So you always want a bit of stability, but you still want fresh eyes, fresh opinions, new perspectives. It could help solve a case mystery. Well, that's if that's what you engage with. People in gated communities, niches, pure niches, which is a gated community, you're not going to see a heavy flow of traffic coming on in. It's almost like a blocked road. So these people in the YouTube streets that might have under 3,000 subscribers down to about 1,000. And how many views do they get per video? 1,400 up to 2,400. It's almost like, it's not a 100% ratio. It's not exactly that all their subscribers are people that watch all those videos, not quite, okay? But majority of views these channels get are close to their subscriber mark. So you can say that they're very successful, but they do have a loyal fan base, but that's only because they're sticking to safe things, which is drama, YouTube streets, an endless cycle of calling one another out and benefiting. If they changed it up to something completely different, they will drop most definitely from, let's say, if they've got like 2,000 subscribers and they're getting 1,800 views per live stream, per panel show. If they changed it up to a video of them going on a walk or putting a plant in a plant pot or feeding fish in a fish tank, is going to go from 1,800 views down to about 200. Guaranteed, okay? There's channels out there, right, that will have 4 million subscribers. And if they do a popular topic or subject, they might be getting 583,000 views, up to about 600,000 per video, which is classified as successful because it'll be explained more later in this video as to the ratio which is acceptable and what isn't. So we'll get to that shortly, but that would be considered success. 500,000+ views with having a few million subscribers on a consistent basis. But some of those big channels have then suddenly done a random video, unrelated, and it's dropped from 500,000 views to 113,000. Massive drop off, meaning the 400,000+ people are just not interested in that specific content. You see a massive drop off in views, but at least that channel tried something, or maybe they just had a different video to put out there on that day. But technically, it was deemed as a failure. Are they likely to repeat it again in the future? Probably not, right? When I went from Kenny Veach to Dylan Brown's, was there a drop-off in views? As for initially, no, it actually went up. So if I was doing Kenny Veach at the time, back in early 2022, slowing down a little bit, but not doing it every day, like Dylan Brown's, it was getting to the point where normally I'd get over 1,000 views on Kenny Veach. People were interested. And then it dropped down to 400 to 600. It was bad. It wasn't good. It even dropped down to 300 at one point. So that's why I made the decision to go on to Dylan Rounds, because, you know, it's dead. It's not really going anywhere. And people may find that hard to believe, but the Kenny Veach case in 2022 was plummeting in interest, okay? And I saw it myself. Now, at the time, there wasn't as much to talk about or cover back then. So that's why, naturally, I went on to something else. And it just so happened that the majority of people wanted to see Dylan Rounds. And it's very interesting because I don't know who first suggested it to me, okay? But it was regular viewers on my channel that said, have you heard about Dylan Rounds? Maybe go over there. And that's what I did. 1 month later, after Dylan was reported missing, okay? I got involved, joined on in, I think it was July, early July or so. And obviously came across a wide range of new people who then came to me, and regulars stuck around. And maybe with time people dropped off, but you see, the numbers went up. So instead of 300, 400, 500 views, I was getting 1,000 to 4,000 views on the odd video, 10,000, okay, short term. So in terms of short term per video uploaded, there was a higher growth, higher amount of people watching than usual. Long term, no. Kenny Veach videos, still to this day, right? I uploaded a short video on the Kenny Veach case, right? Remember when I said it reached a milestone, first ever video shorts to reach 100k views on my channel? Well, I looked back since and it's nearly at 120,000. So passively, it's still growing in the background because it's a popular video, it's somewhat successful, the YouTube algorithm acknowledges it, so they're more likely to push it out there, so then more people down the line will see it on the homepage and just click on it like normal, right? It can also apply to other people out there that might have a very bad video, bad content, low effort, but if it's favored by the algorithm, you are blessed, right? That's just how it works. It is luck, it is chance. You can try as much as you want. You can be educational. You can be all about teaching people valid skills, abilities, whatever. Might not be good enough. You might not meet the cut because you just wasn't lucky enough, right? So what about the YouTube streets then? Is that by luck, skill, or chance? I guess it would be chance and luck. To get involved in something in the first place, to make the choice to go in that direction, which was the Dylan Rounds case. Things kind of worked out. People were networking with one another, something I don't do. So that might be where they found their success. They found their groups, they found their people, they stuck with it. And then when the drama came on in, maybe naturally responding back, and then down the line realizing, this works. Let's keep it going. The skill, the ability of knowing if that's what works, that's what drives the concurrent viewers and keeps people like remaining here and watching, well, you're doing something right. With most of my stuff, it's been, I've no clue what will happen next. I have no clue what will happen if I move on to something else, good or bad, but most of the time it's been good. I do know though, if I do an ASMR video, downhill in performance views, because most people aren't interested in that on my channel. It shows for itself in numbers. If 10,000 people all subscribed to my channel were interested in true crime, then you'd think you'd be getting 10,000 viewers every time. Doesn't always work like that, okay? I'll explain it a bit later, as I said, but we just need to get through it bit by bit, okay? So, in terms of back to my channel, the 10,000 mark, people come, people go, right? These gated communities, these YouTube streets, they remain because they're always talking about the same thing and stuck in the cycle of what works for them and what's of interest to the audience, so they're gonna stick. As soon as it's changed up or stops, then it will drop off and it will go downhill, right? The equivalent of when channels were set up and seen as a prospect in the eyes of Jim Terry. Growth at first, and then pulling the plug, a downfall. Some people finding their ways, success elsewhere, teaming up together. But, you know, initially there was a boost of growth in kind of an unnatural way. It wasn't raw growth. It wasn't through hard work. It was just through being gifted, you know, a boost by somebody else who's a bit more well known, right? I didn't allow that here. So this is all natural here and raw. Realistically though, as I said, in early 2020, I was at 170 subscribers. So from 2013 to 2020, early, complete write-off. But from onwards, 2020 up to 2024, 10K. So it's taken like 4 years to get to 10K compared to the latter, which was a longer time span. So not as bad. Yeah, short videos can generate more subscribers, but does it guarantee continuous growth, or does it maintain an audience? No. People that come in just for short videos will have a low attention retention span. They're not likely to stick around for the long form content, okay? So, I know it's random, but you got Bell V, okay? Involved in YouTube streets? Yes, no, maybe. But Bell V, or, you know, even watch her crazy, okay? Sometimes when she gets dragged into stuff and then she has to defend herself, or sometimes where she may appear on a panel, which other people aren't too welcoming of or pleased to see. But Bell V, watch her crazy. They're short videos at times, successful, done well. But like, let's focus more on Watch Her Crazy, okay? Watch Her Crazy has uploaded some nature videos, short ones, deers, animals. That will attract a broad range of people out there, strangers who have never seen Watch Her Crazy's channel before, okay? Because people relate to animals, they like animals. So if you cover a popular topic in short format, you're going to guarantee yourself new viewers. But those new viewers that come around and then see your channel or a person's channel, look at the normal videos, the long format ones, the live streams, the community tab, they look at that and think, oh, do you know what? I'm not really interested in that type of material content. I came for the animal content, but in terms of the main content on this channel, it's not about that. So I might subscribe, but I'm probably not going to come back. That's the same with my channel, right? I've done short videos, football, video games. And whilst that was true in the past, in the early days of my channel, that's what I did and created. It's not what I stick with full time because it doesn't work for me, but true crime mysteries do, as we've seen. That's why I've stuck with it since. But I have made changes here and there to experiment at least and try. But as for the gameplay stuff, the football stuff, which I like doing, I'll do it in the short video section, and nature stuff and random things. So I can still participate in that, but to maximize the growth and success so it's worthwhile, I'll just do it in short videos, because I know in standard video format it won't work, because the algorithm and the audience it targets is mostly people that come to my channel and have been around and subscribers, and they're not interested directly in gaming or football. Some may be, but the majority aren't, so they're not going to watch it. YouTube algorithm sees that and thinks, you know, we're not going to bother pushing this video anymore. It's dead in the waters. But YouTube Shorts, that's catered towards either people within your own country, location-based, or just strangers in the For You section, right? In the short section. That's like how it is with YouTube, okay? YouTube Shorts, well, your videos in the YouTube Shorts tab will target a wider, broader range of people because it's in its own category. When you do normal videos, that's more targeted towards your regular viewers, and that's where YouTube pushes it more. But short videos, YouTube pushes that out to strangers more often. So you see a range of different people coming on in. It's not always sustainable, but it's still a way of growing. And if you want to do other activities or different topics and themes, and you want to keep up with that, but you want it to perform well, you just do it in the short section. So that's kind of like what I've done. But obviously, if some of the unrelated videos to what I normally do, maybe got 10,000, 20,000 views, doesn't mean to say I'm going to get 20,000 subscribers as well. Not always, it's not guaranteed. And those 20,000 people that came in for this short video aren't exactly going to then watch all my normal videos because it's just not of their interest. It doesn't link to them, right? So linking back to Watch Her Crazy, animal videos do well, but do those thousands of people then go on to what do you call it, the Sunday morning things, the music videos, the little hangouts? No, because people aren't interested in that, just like how people aren't interested in some of my stuff. It's just natural. That's just the YouTube cycle lifespan. Now, people in the YouTube streets, when they do short videos, it might be receipts, it might be highlights from a previous show or somebody else's, funny or negative, drama or neutral. And when you see those type of short videos, there's only about 200 to 500 views. So you can clearly see that when these people in the YouTube streets start, not directly because they're not aware of it in the first place, but when these people in the YouTube streets start advertising their gated community content to a broader, wider audience in the YouTube short section, they get nowhere near the amount of views as they would when they do their normal videos, because YouTube and the algorithm doesn't care about their content and doesn't see it as important, nor do the general public who have no clue who these channels are in the YouTube streets. So if Bob Farrell, if Twin Mama, if Jim Terry, if Salty Pancakes did short videos all about, well, actually exclude Salty Pancakes because some people say that's a bit shady, but the other named individuals that do a short video based on their highlights, their show, their drama, their conflicts, their receipts, their response, their screenshots, their text messages, you only get a few hundred views. The wider, broader audience on YouTube that comes across that stuff, if they do, if YouTube even promotes it, they're not going to be interested. They don't care about it. The only people that care about that type of content are the audience themselves within that gated community. But as said, YouTube Shorts tend to be more accessible to strangers than the regular viewers. Normal format videos or live streams are more accessible and aimed towards your regular viewers, people that constantly watch. As for strangers, it might be harder to come by because it's not put out there much by YouTube. But when it is put out there by YouTube, that's through YouTube Shorts. But as I said, the regular viewers don't always come across those short videos as easily. So it works in different ways, right? And it just shows that it's a gated community and it's a niche because the majority of outsiders out there won't get it, won't understand it, and won't care to even learn or bother. But when it comes to my stuff, okay, Dylan Rounds, Kenny Veach, when I've turned that content, important material, into YouTube Shorts to get the word out there to a wider, broader audience of people that aren't aware of my research and findings, I put normal videos, long format videos, summarized into a short video, targets a wider, broader audience, and then boom, gets more views than my normal video would get at times, okay? I mean, when you look at my normal video, full-length normal video format, there's some videos that are over 100,000 views, 80,000 views. And when it comes to the YouTube short section of the same content but summarized, some have 10,000. The odd one has over 100,000. So for me, it works both ways. YouTube Shorts, there is growth, there is awareness. New people hear about stuff. When I do standard video format, yes, regular people see those videos and continue watching, great. But also new people come on in, as I see statistically and as I see passively over time, which is one of the causations, that's the driving force as to why I get over 1 million views per year, okay? As said, it's not a competition. I'm just highlighting based on observations and what is the case and what's invalid and what's incorrect and the misconceptions within the YouTube streets when people try to make it all about a competition, but they truly don't understand the numbers or figures, okay? Yes, there are some channels out there Okay, maybe quite a few on the YouTube streets and further afar that may have once been on YouTube. If it's not down to how many views you get or how many live viewers you get, it might be down to how much money did you make in this last show? How much money did you make over the last month? How much money did you make at the end of this year or the year just gone? How much money did you make? And what you'll hear, most of these people where they do give the figures, oh, I got 5k, I got 10k, I got 2k, ooh. And some people say, wow, that's great, blah, blah, blah. Whether it's true or not, 9 times out of 10, arguably 10 times out of 10, all of these YouTube channels, okay, ones you're familiar with, where they say, I've got over 2k from PayPal, I've got 5k from Venmo, I've got 6k from, what are the other ones out there? Cash App. Yeah, you've received money from your viewers and further afar in support of you, or maybe driven by a hidden narrative or boost. Yeah, through third-party services and apps. How much money did you make through YouTube alone? No one seems to mention that, right? So you're a part of the YouTube Partner Program, or you've got there eventually, but you're not acknowledging that part, maybe because the original core mechanics, the core bases and foundations of the channel, those numbers from the original, the AdSense, that's not mentioned to that extent because maybe it's not as good, but they compensate elsewhere through third-party services. So directly through YouTube, you could say a lot of people aren't doing that well successfully, but they are through third-party services. I said, super chats, super stickers, and other directives out there are very helpful, very useful, and should always be acknowledged no matter the channel. It's acknowledged. It's good of people to show form of support and all that. But I'm just saying, as an observation, you never see all these other people competing with one another saying, how much did you get from YouTube? Excluding all the gifted support by viewers. Take away the support from viewers and just based on raw numbers of viewers you get through videos and the ads that generate that, what do you get? You don't hear people talking about that. Maybe because they don't talk about it because in moments of competition, they feel a bit embarrassed. Just a little observation. It's not a fact, but I'm just highlighting it. Some things aren't always talked about, but only the good things are, right? So it reverts back to acknowledging all the success, but not the failures, because when you're in an endless competition rat race in the YouTube streets, you never want to lower your guard. You never want to show your weaknesses. You never want to show your failures, because the moment you do, another person gains and grows and you're on the downward spiral. That's why it's an unhealthy cycle to be in, because you're always in competition with yourself, but also other people out there. Views, subscribers, live viewers, or the monetary side. And this is where another main problem is with the YouTube streets, and it does also branch out to the true crime community as well. Whether it's boosted, gifted, or natural growth, people that have grown as a channel, created a channel short term, and have done well since, and may have joined the YouTube Partner Program or been able to enable certain forms of support which viewers can gift and stuff. Well, that's all good and fine. It's the mentality, it's the attitude of all these people, okay? And it's not all to do with the younger generation either. I mean, I don't know how that part works there because I don't really look at it much, but quite a few people of the older generation or so, kind of mixed as well, and genders mixed too. The first thing that's on their mind, the first thought that comes to their head is, when can I get 1,000 subscribers? When can I get 4,000 watch hours so then I can join Partner Program, so then I get paid? That's all it's about for them. All these channels out there that may have originated from a case, or say that they care about a case. Yeah, you care about what? Solving the case, spreading awareness, whatever it may be. And yet the first thought on your mind is, When can I get monetized? When can I start earning money? That shouldn't be your first thought. I mean, if you can gain in natural ways, it shouldn't be an issue, but it's just down to the attitude, the mentality you have. You shouldn't be getting into it directly for that monetary reason. There should be other reasons as to why you're doing what you're doing, whether it be because you find it fun, because it's seen as a hobby, an activity at first, which then naturally branches out to something else and there's new opportunities along the way. Or you do something, you cover a case because you care about it, or you're just simply interested in it. And indirectly with time, because of that natural approach, other people tag along and then you grow and grow, and then maybe things are unlocked from there on there and you do gain in other ways. But to directly have that mentality of, I'm creating a YouTube channel and I need to know when do I start getting paid, that's too rushed, that's too forced. It seems a little bit corrupt, in my opinion, okay? It just seems like people are like too demanding, too entitled, wanting it all straight away before working towards it naturally, right? So I think people in the YouTube streets, yeah, they can celebrate when they get a milestone, that's normal and natural, but, you know, besides that, what other milestones are there? There isn't really. It seems kind of shallow. It seems kind of one-way tunnel vision. I think that's the best way of wording it. Certain true crime channels, and quite a few out there in the YouTube streets, they're tunnel visioned. They're pre-programmed in. Must do this so I can get that. Must do this so I can get benefited in some way. Not like something simple as, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to try that and see how it goes, and oh, it's working out, okay, I'll try a bit more, still stick with the original reason as to why I'm doing it in a natural way, and oh, it's working out, that's nice. You see, one is going down a longer pathway, takes more time, it's more natural. The other one is almost like wanting to fast track your way to the top. And maybe natural, sometimes unnatural. But then what, right? What do people do once they've reached the top of the mountain, in a way? Once they've reached the program? What do they do with it then? They don't really do much else. They don't really cover anything else. They just stick with what they're doing. It's kind of like a boring situation in. Safe, but boring. But it does work for them. You see all these links, how it always links back, right? But as I said, the whole competition part of where people say, how much have you made here? How much have you made there? Oh, you've not made as much? You're a failure. You've done bad. Right? All those competitions in that community, it's just a bit embarrassing. It's a bit silly. Because all of it's only about the monetary part. What about the initial case that you were supposed to be covering? Does that not matter anymore? Have you lost sight of that? I think some people get a bit blinded along the way, don't they? Yeah. And even if people were doing a competition, put the monetary side to the far end. There's other statistics what you can use to compare and numbers. You know, like just to think. Yeah, you could have a gated community. You could have about 1,000 to 2,000 people actively watching, and you've got about nearly 2,000 subscribers. You've got a high ratio of concurrent viewers and loyal viewers and supportive viewers. Okay, so it's kind of steady, it's stable. Are they going to be around forever? No. There's numerous factors as to why, naturally and not. And then what do? You're fucked, right? But if you've got an ever steady growth in new people constantly coming in, what's the risk of that? Maybe not as supportive, maybe not as loyal, maybe only temporary. But there's more endless possibilities and opportunities there. So when it does come to a certain competition of how much money have you made here? How much money have you made through these third-party services, Cash Apps, Venmos, whatever it may be? Whilst a person may fall short there in terms of viewers, in terms of projected views in the next 2-5 years, in terms of the subscriber count, how often does it go up, in terms of the amount of shares or likes you get, you might dominate there compared to what other people do, right? there is a reality. And I think these YouTube street people are very small-minded, close-minded, and they don't understand the true reality of how things work on YouTube. There are people on YouTube that have millions of subscribers, maybe not as many views with time because things have changed, right? But they still have got high amount of views. But what about the monetary side? It doesn't always correlate, right? Just because someone has a high view count or lots of subscribers, they're not always going to get a lot back. I mean, an example would be a person said that they got 10 million views on a YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts are monetized whether you like it or not. There might be a feature which you can turn on or off, but that's just in terms of the channel purely. But things were added onto YouTube where Shorts you could gain from, okay, if you were part of milestones and agreements there. But one person, female, I think it was to do with travel or something, and they did like some random video online, they said that they got 10 million views. How much money do you think they made? They said they got $200. 10 million views, $200. But then there's other people out there that have done a normal video, long format video, and for every 1,000 views, they gain $60, and they've ended up getting about 20,000 views or something. It comes down to the demand, okay? If you're talking about something that's in high demand, valued of importance by YouTube, searches, SEO, whatever it may be, it's valued. It normally tends to be finance, banking, and all of that. I'm not going to get involved with that, not at all. I'm not interested either. But you do that type of stuff, or the techie things, technology, yeah, it might be harder to gain traction or have an audience, but even if you have a smaller audience, because it's of value, that type of stuff, it's recognized by advertisers, so you gain more from that. But if you do a light-hearted video, a messy one, and it could be very viral and popular, may not pay out the same way. So there's so many different variables where just because one person looks like they're doing well here, there may not be with another statistic. And just because someone there seems like they're a very small channel, they can still be more successful than a bigger channel can, right? I mean, getting really to the bare bones, okay? Honesty. You can have a person that's just about joined the YouTube partner program, or maybe even before they've joined the partner program, they've been able to enable the super chats and the super stickers, okay? And let's just say they've got 10 regular viewers that are let's not use that word, showing support and sending $500 super chats. As extreme as that is, it can happen, okay? And if you had 10 loyal, dedicated viewers gifting $500 super chats, that's 10 people, 10 times 500 on a weekly or monthly basis, that very small channel with only 10 viewers would be making significantly more than a channel with over 1 million subscribers and thousands of views per video. That's how extreme it can be. But you see how there's different possibilities and opportunities. Even if it looks like someone's failing, doesn't mean to say they exactly are failing. So granted, you look at the YouTube streets, you see 2,000 subscribers, 1,800 views. Loyalty, consistent viewers, and supportive viewers. No room for new growth, no new people really coming on in. Strangers can't be bothered with the stuff. YouTube Shorts are failing, but that constant presence of people is more than enough for it to work, right? And then other people out there who have millions of subscribers but only a few thousand views, they're worse off. Yet technically they would be considered more successful because they've got the verified tick. They've got higher milestones, which the YouTube streets could never amount to, but they're deemed a failure. So you can say it's very unstable on YouTube, but depending your reasoning behind doing this stuff, it won't feel as much of a failure. But if you're doing it all about competing and trying to outdo one another, you lose track, you lose focus of why you're originally here in the first place. And if you were originally doing other stuff and content, that's taken away and it's overshadowed by all this other toxic competitiveness, right? I don't want to be involved in that stuff, but if I've got to defend myself where someone could give false information about numbers on the channel, like views, I'll clear it up. Just a very small example, okay? When Salty Pancakes said, oh, look at Warlike Raph's video, 10,000 subscribers, 24 viewers. Oh, failure. But then when you look at the video the next day, it's at 600, so they got that wrong. And I know people can still say 600 views, nowhere near 10,000. Maybe it's now time we get onto the reality of the truth behind subscribers and views. If you're in a gated community and you cover a niche and you're in a constant cycle in which it's of interest to those viewers, yeah, they'll stick around. But if you're actually putting yourself out there and trying other things and doing it without any boost, and you're doing it all alone, you're a one-man army, etc., yeah, it can be harder. Might be a bit more rewarding down the line if it does go right. But there was a point in time where early on, when I was a nobody and I was at 170 subscribers, it went up to about 200 slowly when I started covering Kenny Veach. But in the early days of covering Kenny Veach, I had more viewers than I did with subscribers, okay? So I was under, what was the number? It seemed to take time to get to 1,000, or at least it felt like that. So in the early days, I might have been at 200, maybe 300 views. No, 200 to 300 subscribers, but getting over 1,000 views, right? That seems very good, doesn't it? But it catches up, right? It will always catch up. As long as you're not in a gated community, as time goes on, at some point you will eventually end up with more subscribers than you do with viewers. You look at PewDiePie. PewDiePie, what is it, over 100 million subscribers? Over 100 million subscribers. How many views does he get per video? 2 to 4 million? Now, 2 to 4 million people watching a video sounds very good and statistically successful in different ways, but when you refer back that there was over 100 million people subscribed and only 4 million at max are watching the videos, that's deemed as a very bad failure, right? But that's just reality. That's just life. That's how it works on YouTube and maybe other platforms too. In the early stages, not as many people know you nor want to associate with you or follow you, but they will watch your videos here and there. And if the videos are good, it will attract a certain range of people, okay? And a small percentage will subscribe, but most won't. So in the early phases, you got more views than you do with subscribers. It's kind of like when it comes to people who like videos. Statistically, it was highlighted or proven that for every 1,000 views, if you get 100 likes, that's considered as a success. Now, getting 100 likes with 1,000 people watching seems very easy, doesn't it? But not everybody is easily pleased. Not everybody thinks to click the like button. Maybe because they can't be bothered. Maybe because they don't want to. Maybe because they feel, what's the point? What do I get out of it? They don't get anything out of it. But what does the creator get out of it? Well, the more a person likes a video, and everyone else that comes along, the more people that like the video, the more likely that video will be put out there onto YouTube, onto the front page, and then more people will then see the video and then click on it. So obviously, liking the video does help. Leaving comments in the comment section does help the performance of the video. There's more engagement, there's more activity. YouTube sees that activity and thinks, oh, that's trending. Let's push it out there. Let's reward this creator because it seems to be working out. That's how it works. If everybody clicked the dislike button, I know YouTube policy hid the dislikes. No one can see how many dislikes YouTube channels have. That's not fair, is it? Censoring and stuff, it's BS. But I think it still applies that if the majority of people disliked a video, well, that video is less likely to be advertised or shown publicly to other people. It kind of gets blacklisted in a way. So it's like the people's vote does play a major role in how videos perform out there, okay? So to revert back to the fact that not everybody will click the like button, but if 100 people do click it, for every 1,000 views, that's deemed a success. But do you see the ratio? One stacked against the other. You need 1,000 people in hopes of getting 100 likes. And like with the subscriber thing, yeah, a person can click the subscribe button. Why do they do it then? Because they want to show support? Because they want to be able to follow the channel and be notified all the time? Well, that doesn't even work at times, right? Because of YouTube and glitches and errors and things playing up, people have been subscribed to a channel, not been notified. 2 years later, they've realised, oh, I'm still subscribed to this channel. Oh, they've uploaded videos. I had no clue, right? So people, some, will click the subscribe button because they lack the routine and memory of remembering to watch a channel. They rely on the notifications to help them with their busy schedule, whatever they're doing in life. And when the notifications don't work, it gets neglected and people forget to come back. Some people are unsubscribed, unnotified, because YouTube takes it into their own hands to undo it for people. And then they've got no clue, left in the dark. 5 years later, they realise, oh shit, I need to resubscribe. I mean, I've seen it with my subscriber list, some of the public ones, where people have resubscribed a month or two later, and that's because YouTube unsubbed them. There's nothing I can do. And obviously, if you're not in favour of YouTube and you may cover controversial stuff, besides videos getting censored, comments being deleted out of your own control, people can be unsubbed and notifications can be turned off. And that's not by the creator, it's not by the viewer, it's by YouTube. So messy things can happen. You might get 10,000 dedicated people subscribed to you. But if YouTube turns off half of those people's notifications or subscription feed, only 5,000 people will return back. The other 5,000 people are left in the dark, right? To take in mind, what's the importance of subscribers? How important is the subscriber count? I would say, and I think most people higher ups would agree, views are more important than subscribers, okay? Because when it comes to the view count, that can be returning people or new viewers. And when I've looked at my stats, 90,000 plus are new viewers to my channel, whereas only 8,000, 2,000, 2 to 8,000 are returning. So it's not the full amount of the subscriber list, okay? It's like some people may take an interest but then forget or become disinterested, okay? But not everybody clicks unsubscribe. That is why when it's come to some YouTubers out there that have got caught up in a controversial situation, they've been labelled and it's been proven sexual assault, paedophile, bad stuff, okay? I mean, whether it's true or not, messy situation, but a YouTuber known as Onision, Onision, with kind of like longish hair, had a community, 2 million plus subscribers, got exposed, called out, this and that happened, victims came forward supposedly. It led to a decline in his channel and people were disgusted by what supposedly happened and didn't like Onision. But then you still had the loyal supporters still. But then you had a range and many out there of people who were still subscribed to that channel, but they were completely unaware. They forgot. They subscribed to the channel years ago and then just lost interest, never came back. And then they hear about the news, the allegations and bad stuff. And because they've forgotten that they've subscribed to the channel, they're just completely unaware. But when they realise they're still subscribed, they're disgusted and then click unsubscribe, right? So really, the value of subscribing isn't that important because sometimes it's not that important enough to the viewer that clicks the subscribe button in the first place because they don't always intend on returning back. So you could say, well, what's the point subscribing then? Well, that's not for me to say. It's whatever is going on in here by the viewer, okay? It'd be ironic though, wouldn't it, by saying that there, it goes from 10k to 50 subscribers. That would be a complete disaster, but you know, anything can happen, right? But at the end of the day, realistically, views are more important than subscribers because not all subscribers translate into viewers because they don't always return back. You end up having more new viewers than you do with returning viewers. That's what I've seen. If you're in a gated community, you're not going to see new growth. You're not going to see new people coming on in, but you will see a high proportion, the majority of returning viewers because they're subscribers. So the proportions and statistics there are good, but in terms of overall channel growth per month, per year, it's lacking. So people compensate in different ways, right? So whilst I don't have 10,000 loyal people, I'm just being realistic, okay? I don't want to give a specific number of how many loyal people there are because that would get very messy and people get triggered. But I know for sure, I confidently know I don't have 10,000 loyal viewers because if I did, I'd be getting 10,000 views every video that I make, right? So a certain proportion of subscribers subscribe to my channel who are still subscribed may have forgotten about my channel, right? They're subscribed, but it doesn't really mean anything because they're not coming back as viewers. So that's why some channels out there, short channels and people that cover different content end up saying, right, my video got viral. It's not the norm of what I normally upload. So if you are subscribing just for this video, don't. There's been actual channels out there where they've got viral, but they've actually pleaded for people not to subscribe if you're only doing it for this content because they don't normally do that type of content. And sometimes it's been said that YouTube will punish a channel if they get lots of subscribers, but they don't maintain those viewers. So if you cover content or some content and it's a one-off, which attracts a load of people, let's say you make a video, 1 million views, and you gain 50 to 200,000 subscribers because of that video, okay? I mean, actually being realistic, there's been people that have got like 11 to 27 million views on a viral video, and it's translated to about 17 to 35,000 subscribers. Now, it can vary that, but you can get a lot of views, you get a certain proportion of new subscribers. Those subscribers have subscribed because of that one video. And that channel that has made that viral video, unknown to them, their normal content tends to get 1 to 10 to 15 viewers. Yes, they've gained all of a sudden 15,000 subscribers, but those 15,000 people are here for that viral video, not for your normal content. So what will happen is 15,000 people come on in and subscribe, and 15,000 people will walk away, but forget to unsubscribe. So the next time round, that channel ends up uploading another video, which is unrelated, and it's just a basic one, where they get 10 to 15 viewers on average. If someone else came on in and said, whoa, look at your subscriber list, you've got 10, 20, 30,000 subscribers, but you've only got 10 views, you're a failure. It's not their fault. They're not exactly a failure, right? They're only deemed a failure because they've got so many subscribers and low views. But if they had 30 subscribers and 10 views, that would be deemed a success. So it's kind of all relative to the ratio. And that's why some channels out there plead for people not to subscribe if it's just for this one video, because it's not what they normally do. So they can't sustain those 15,000 subscribers and transfer them into views because they're not sticking around for the normal stuff. That's why people say don't subscribe. And when YouTube catches on that a person might have a load of subscribers but not enough viewers, that can impact the algorithm and how the videos are pushed out there. It can have a negative effect. So sometimes it's not always, you know, if you're gonna cover a video and it does well, you're probably best dedicating yourself to that theme and topic. And some people have gone to the extreme of uploading a video, found out it worked really well, but not what they normally do. So they've had to create a brand new channel and delete the previous one just so it didn't impact their performance. Or because someone decided to change the topic or theme about on their channel, it like doomed them to failure because the algorithm didn't like what they were doing and changing the subject, even though the channel wanted to. And from there on then, they were kind of blacklisted and didn't get the same amount of views as they normally would do. And even when they returned back to what they normally do, YouTube was still punishing them. So they just had to create a brand new channel from the beginning again and just hope that they wouldn't get punished. So all kinds of manipulations and weird stuff that goes on. As for my channel though, right, okay, 10,000 subscribers, not getting 10,000 views, but to make up for that or to compensate for it collectively or passively, I'm getting way more views per month than I am with subscribers. So as for this month, or crossing on over to the month of February, I'm currently at 179,000 viewers across all videos on my channel. Specifically speaking, the traffic for this month, around 179,000 views. 179,000 people, and I've got 10,000 subscribers. Right? It sounds good, doesn't it? But there's a chance that if I did get more subscribers in years to come, let's just say I managed to get, it's not guaranteed, but if I managed to get 200,000 subscribers, as great as that sounds, if I'm still getting about 100 to 179,000 views per month, one's caught up with the other. It's ended up catching up and surpassing, right? And that is why, eventually with time, your subscriber list will always outdo your views, because subscribers is accumulative, because 9 times out of 10, people that subscribe forget to click unsubscribe when they're no longer following that channel. So that number remains. Views are always changing up and down depending on who watches and who doesn't. If less people watch, you get less views. If more people watch, you get more views. But when it comes to subscribing, it's not a matter of it going up and down. It's always going up and hardly going down because people just forget to click unsubscribe, right? I mean, might be some exceptions short term. Look at Zav Girl, okay, true crime. Had 100,000, maybe 121,000 subscribers, and then because of the controversy with the, what was it, the morgue, the photos of that younger individual, and it was insensitive, or it sparked backlash, controversy. Because of that, it ended up leading to Zavgirl going from 121,000 subscribers down to about 80,000. Massive drop off. What's she at now? 91,000 and counting, and eventually we'll get back up to 120,000 and more over time. Yes, active people can click unsubscribe because they are active and they now don't want to associate with what's going on because they're active and they're in the loop of things. If they hear about bad stuff and it doesn't sit well with them, they'll act upon it. Fair enough. As bad as it is losing subscribers, it's not that bad. But getting a massive surge in subscribers, but it doesn't translate to active viewers, that's actually worse. And that's just being realistic because the algorithm doesn't like that, okay? But reverting back to the whole YouTube streets where they're competing with how many views do you have compared to how many subscribers do you have, right? I can be a prime target for being ridiculed and called out. Oh, look at Warlike Ref, 10,000 subscribers, but only 500 to 1,000 views. That's a failure. But you can't even compare that situation to a gated community that has a consistent, almost guaranteed view count of people. Why not compare a channel like mine, you know, on the basis of competing, even though I don't agree with it, but if people want to really, you know, compare and contrast, compare one's channel that doesn't rely on a gated community nor a niche in that sense, okay? Because it's open to everyone and many are interested. Many can come, many can go, right? Might not be as stable, but it's raw, it's natural, it's not enhanced, there's no boost, it is what it is, whatever happens, happens. You compare a situation like that, a person like that, to a person in the YouTube streets, gated community, come on out, then cover a new topic and subject for a few months, and then let's see statistically who compares, and it'll be completely different, okay? Because as I said, I move about, those don't. When they do, even if it's just one video, it drops, it changes, it plummets, okay? You step out of the gated community because you cover a different topic, those regulars won't be still there. They'll go elsewhere. Hollow and shallow, okay? So if you're in a safe space, you're keeping it safe, a bit boring, but you're safe, you may think you've got loyal people. But as soon as you break away, and let's say you listen to the minority that say, do you know what, don't get involved in this drama, break away from it, do your own thing. And then in the words of someone in the background, another creator says, yeah, you go off and do that and we'll see how you perform because within the next few months you'll be nothing. And then you'll come back and then start using our content again to become relevant again. There's truth in that, right? Because it has happened. Not that it's the same comparison, but like you get some UFC fighters, okay? They've been fighting for a certain length of time, then they've decided to retire. And you think, oh, okay. A few months later, they're back. And you think, oh, well, that's good. You've got to ask yourself, have they only returned back because they've blew all their money elsewhere? So they need some on the spot. Just like with on YouTube, you need content or you want to maintain growth. You want to actually grow and not just maintain. You want to grow and go further, let's just say. But if you step out of that safe zone, it might not work. It might fail. But a lot of people don't want to try it. And those that may have a little snip at it, or it backfires. And they rush on back and stick to what they're doing. So you can't compare being in a safe space, those statistics, with a channel that actually tries and experiments. You can't compare the two. There's no comparison to be made. So it makes the overall conversations invalid, right? So when people try putting me down or comparing me to them and saying I'm a failure but they're not, there's no comparison. It's an invalid one. You do not meet the same criteria as I do. You're not under the same factors as me. So you can't compare, right? Success or failure, you can't compare. You compare yourself in the same environment as somebody else, yeah. The measurements, the validity, the reliability is more accurate and more fairer testing. So yeah, you can compete with one another and compare in the YouTube streets, but you can't compare yourself in the YouTube streets to someone who's in a completely different community, right? So when I was doing Dylan Rounds and it just so happened that the YouTube streets and drama was engaged in that topic, people were making comparisons to me. whether it be Jim Terry, whether it be Bob Farrell, whether it be Twin Mama, whether it be Kenny at one point, whether it be Rhonda, the oversized individual. Yeah, you can joke, you can mug one off. Oh, look, 9,000 subscribers, but only a few people watching, and even Salty Pancakes can. Are you getting 1 million views per year? No. Shut up. Simmer down. You plank. You complete plank. And this was originally going to be used for Cleo. But on this basis, the way people have been behaving out there, complete plank. You can't compare, okay? You can't compare a lion to a cub. There's a difference in size. There's a difference in situation and growth. It's not a fair comparison. It's not a fair environment for testing or experimenting. They're in a different situation, higher up or lower down. It just can't happen, right? So I just wanted to highlight that. And to close it off as for the subject, right? Normally, if you're not in a gated community and you just keep on moving forwards, you keep on growing. But eventually, naturally, subscribers, you'll get more and it will surpass how many views you get. There are exceptions like Mr. Beast, over 100 million subscribers, over 100 million views per video. Very successful, but that's like the top 0.1% of creators on YouTube. Hardly anyone can compare to those standards or levels. So you got to tone it back a little bit, be realistic to your actual growth, your potential, your projected growth, and where you're currently at. And normally, 9 times out of 10, you will end up with more subscribers than viewers because more people are likely to hit subscribe, less likely to hit unsubscribe when they become disinterested with a channel. It's just a habit. People forget, right? But people don't forget to watch. Not always. People choose not to watch because they're busy, because they don't like the changes. They're not interested anymore. What would have been a more fairer comparison, but it's just not the case, if it was basically where 10,000 people come on in, 10,000 people watch collectively, and then become disinterested and decide to unsubscribe, that would be a fairer comparison, right? 10,000 in, 10,000 out. But the reality of YouTube is 10,000 people come in, 5,000 people leave, but it's still shown as 10,000 people on the subscriber count. But with the views, it's obvious 5,000 people have left, but the subscriber thing hasn't updated to the views because not everybody clocks out, ticks off the list. Kind of like how you come into a workplace, you sign on, you give the date, time, whatever, when you've arrived, and then when you're leaving, you sign off and you put your date, time in as well. It's not like that with YouTube. People come, people go, but certain statistics don't change because people forget to make the change themselves. Hopefully that makes sense. But as I said, most of the time you will end up with more subscribers than viewers. It's not deemed as a failure. It's just life. It's just how it works. So it's not a fair comparison to make, okay? The next comparison, what people tend to do, and it's like with the monetary thing, quite driven in the YouTube streets, because YouTube streets is all about live streams, live panels, live call-ins. That's what it is. It's a hangout zone. Let's reach out, let's talk, let's battle it out, whatever. Let's have fun, let's start drama, let's respond back to drama, let's clear the record, whatever it may be. It's all driven by that. And when it comes to a live stream, you have a live view count, okay? It's different to if you was to upload a normal video in normal format, no live premiere, no live stream, you just posted that, and then your views just go up and up and up over time. When it comes to a live stream or a live premiere, same structure, okay? Evidently, obviously, a live stream is different. The actual video itself is different to a live premiere. A live premiere is what I do. It's pre-recorded, okay? A live stream is live, as you would expect. So if someone in the chat like Dale said, "You smell a fish," the person doing that video, that live stream, could respond back saying, "You're talking a lot, Dale. You know, you got snail trail all over your back and your pants." and they think, oh, that person heard me. That person responded to me live, because it's live. A live premiere is presented, the video itself, the pre-recorded package is presented for the first time ever for everyone to see. A live premiere is the equivalent as going to the cinemas, red carpet live premiere of the latest film. Yes, you're watching a film, but it's not live action. It's like pre-recorded. It's been in production back then, and it's only been shown on air at a theatre now. But everybody there watching it at that moment are watching it for the first time ever and are witnessing it for the first time ever as like a live experience, right? That's how it is with YouTube. But in terms of the structure, the live chat, that's the exact same as a live stream as it is to a live premiere, and so is the view count, okay? The view count can go up, it can go down. It's based on active number of people watching that show at that moment, or watching that video at that moment. More people can come on in, you'll see the view count go up. More people can leave if they become bored, or there's another show going on, people are out doing one another, doing it at the same time as someone else's live stream, so then everyone jumps off ship, goes on to the next live show, and you see the numbers dwindle. There's been some big YouTube channels out there that have run experiments where they've decided to say, right, everybody in this chat, 10,000 people, no, 5,000 people watching, or 1,000 people watching, go on to your web browser, open as many tabs as you can, minimize them all, click on the stream, what you're watching right now, duplicate that on every tab. So 1,000 people do that 5 times those 1,000 people, you're getting even more viewers, but there's only really 1,000 true people watching. But because it's been duplicated with all those tabs, YouTube has identified it as more viewers when it's not the case. I think that might have been fixed since, but you know, people experiment and see what works and what doesn't, and kind of exploits made to get around the system. It can happen, right? So yeah, but you know, what can happen is, and what will happen, it's inevitable. Okay, gated community, everybody's all close together, all in the loop, the know-how of routine, schedule, when a video goes live, when there's a live stream, same time every Tuesday, same time every Friday, same time every Sunday, people show up on the dot, or get involved a bit later, but they catch up, right? It doesn't quite work the same here, right? So maybe on average, I could get 400-500 views per video, but I'm not getting 400 to 500 concurrent viewers in that live premiere of mine, because time zones don't add up. People are busy, people may be asleep, but eventually people come around and then eventually watch my video, right? So the schedule may not fit everybody else's, but when people have got time, they'll get round to watching the video on catch-up. So at the time when in the past Salty Pancake said, oh, only 24 people watched that video of Rafts during the live premiere, yeah, 24 people were available at the time. The remaining 400 to 500 were on catch-up, watching the following day or the day after, right? So once again, you can't compare a gated community with a routine with, like, you know, announcements, compared to a channel that does it when they can and does it in a different time zone, right? You can't compare a gated community in which basically 100% of participants and channels are from the US and compare that to someone from the UK, that the time zone difference is about 6 to 7 to 8 hour time zone difference, in which the UK is ahead of the US. So by the time I do my live premiere, it might be the time where people wake up in the morning in the US, or it's only come to lunchtime for them and they may be busy at that time. But I can't make my live premiere any later because I need to go to bed, right? And if I did it any earlier, they would be asleep. So realistically, I could have 1 million subscribers, but 1 million of those subscribers are from the US. If I do a live premiere 10 a.m. in the morning, it's probably going to be nighttime or getting to nighttime for people in the US because they're behind in time. So once my live premiere has ended or live stream, I might only have 2 viewers. And if someone sees that, 2 viewers, you got 1 million subscribers, that's embarrassing. Give it a day or two so people catch up in the time zone from the US and they'll all watch it eventually, right? I said, referring back to the subscriber thing, not everybody maintains. Some leave but don't check out. So take that factor into mind. Based off what you at least know of, the regular people that come along, not all regulars will be watching at the same time. People catch up when they've got time. So you can't make a comparison between a channel under this structure, under this geographical placing, and compare that to a gated community of set rules, set adjustments, and a set routine. It can't be compared. But those in the true crime community from the same country and maybe from the same state, they will try and outdo one another and compete, right? Because they can, they want to, and in different ways, they've got the opportunity to do so. And because they're all doing live streams and live shows, it's like a live taping of WWE versus AEW. Which one performs better in the listings, in the attendance record, in terms of the TV ratings? Which one outdoes the other? That's just like how it is. So the YouTube streets and the competitiveness is a microcosm of businesses, TV programs on at the same time as one another, and one's trying to outdo the other. But on the YouTube side, it's more petty and more toxic, and there's more insults, because in like the business situations and in real life in the TV shows and the companies, it's a bit more formal. Yes, there are competing against one another, but it's in a more formal way. It's not like a slanging match of words. No, on YouTube it is, because there's not as many consequences and it's between general public. So conversations are different there compared to in business, where jargon and certain language is used which may seem abstract towards a civilian of a lower role. Let's just say that, okay? So it can differ there, but you know, I'm not in the YouTube streets, so I can't compare to them, and I wouldn't anyway. I wouldn't want to compare in the first place, because whether I win or lose, it's just not fun. The equivalent is, yes, I lift weights. I do exercise at times, not always, but I try. But if I see a video of someone lifting a heavier weight than me, that pisses me off. So then I go and do it myself. And most of the time I do it. Isn't that good? It's a good feeling, but at the same time it's not. I shouldn't have to compete with others. But that's just how it is in here. And that's why, because I know of that, I try to avoid watching others. Like if it's a video online of someone doing an exercise or a challenge, I try and avoid that, right? I don't go to gyms. Not because of that whole reason, I just don't want to go because I don't feel comfortable and I prefer sticking to myself. And many other factors, such as I want to do the weights, I want to have all the time in the world to do it without being pestered by anyone saying, have you finished yet? Can I do it now? I don't want to get caught in the trap of where you've got certain influencers and females where they record themselves doing a workout, they've got a tripod camera, but then if someone in the background, a male, just happens to turn in that direction, they get called a creep, a pedo, whatever. I don't want to be caught in that unfortunate situation, right? There's so many nasty things that can happen. You can be doing a workout, maybe it's your own unique one, it works for you but no one else. Other people see it and think that's weird. They record you, upload it online, and then you're on a fail video without your consent. Do you want that? As I said, there's many reasons as to why I don't go to a gym. Another factor is I don't believe in paying a monthly membership, paying to build muscle, when you can build muscle without paying in the first place. Or you can do a one-off payment, buy a dumbbell, buy some weights, some equipment, a one-off payment, and it lasts forever or for as long as possible, right? And you can choose when to do it and when not, and you don't have to worry about concurrent payments, right? Like all different factors there, okay? So reverting back to the competitive part and competing, yeah, it can happen. I might not find myself competing on YouTube, but I might be competing elsewhere. Could be a video game, could be exercise, and it's just not fun. You got to try and walk away or detach from it. Not always possible. It's difficult. It's hard. But you can try and reduce it. It's worthwhile. And as for the YouTube part, even if it's just a part-time thing, even if it's so casual to all these people out there, maybe the whole competing part isn't the end of the world for them because they're not as passionate about it, they're not as focused about it. So it doesn't really matter. But there could be some contradictions to be made, because if the competition part doesn't matter, then why are you constantly going on about it then? And I'm just going to be honest. I don't know if it was in response to somebody or defending themselves. I remember in recent time, the Shaq lady was responding back to someone. Then you had Twin Mama or Bob Fowl responding back to BJ about, oh, we've got so many concurrent viewers. We've got more live viewers than you. We had more on the show than you. And we only did it a few minutes ago and you've done it for an hour, and yet we've got more viewers in a short amount of time than you have. And then the Shaq lady saying, all my unlisted or privatized videos of high importance have over 1,000 views, but I'm only doing this part-time. I've got a busy life. I'm going in hospital 24/7. I'm an expert. I'm going to the local research facility to learn more and expand my brain, even though it's protruding out my head already because I've got a big head. And like Bob Fowler, Twin Mama, oh, this is only part-time. And then other people from the Dylan Rouse community and further afar, oh, this is just a hobby, this is just an activity, this is just casual. I'm doing other stuff in the background, I've got more important stuff going on. This is child's play, this means nothing, right? Well, if it means nothing, then why are you constantly talking about numbers and competing with one another? If it really doesn't matter, if it's so minuscule to you, then why are you constantly talking about it then? Maybe it is more important than you let on, right? And for all those people that say, oh, YouTube, that's just a part-time thing, it means nothing, it doesn't really mean much. Well, isn't that disrespectful to the audience? The audience that make you who you are, that add to the numbers and the statistics, that may also gift super chats, super stickers, memberships, and you're just playing it off like, nah, this is just a part-time thing, it means nothing, I've got other important stuff going on in life. You're throwing all those viewers under the bus. All those viewers that have supported your channel or watched along, you're almost like throwing them away like it means nothing all of a sudden. That's a bit rude, right? And all those people in the YouTube streets, the same people to say that YouTube isn't important, online interaction isn't important, it's all about real life. That's where the importance part is. That's where the fun factors is. That's the people you trust and hang out with in real life. Screw online. YouTube, it's only a part-time thing. So how come you've all got the same one-sided mentality of, right, I'm going to create a channel myself and I want to try and get as much money as possible and try and get monetized as quick as possible? The same people that, you know, brush it off saying, oh, it's not about the money, it's not about competing, it's just a hobby, just a little activity on the sideline. And yet those people's mentalities and attitudes upon creating a channel is, must get to the milestones as soon as possible, must get the cash apps up, must get the PayPals up as soon as possible, and rush it all. And let's talk about stats. Let's constantly talk about people's failures and how we're doing better than the others and how we're actually doing better despite what the others say. If you got nothing to compete, you got nothing to prove, nothing to explain because it's meaningless, then why are you doing it then? Why are you going in that endless cycle? Maybe because it is actually important. Maybe because you do rely on it. Maybe because you are all about it. I don't know. It's just people going against their own words, contradictions, whilst also throwing their own viewers under the bus, which is kind of disrespectful and rude, right? I mean, yes, super chats are enabled on this channel, as we've seen. PayPal link is available too. But all of those features were not implemented directly by me. The thought of enabling them made me think, oh, this feels a bit awkward, you know? Not that it's forced, it's just an option if people want to show support to the channel, but it felt awkward, it felt weird. Do I deserve to be gifted anything? Do I deserve people to like join a membership? Do I actually deserve super chats or super stickers? It felt weird at first, right? Even though it was just a feature, an option, a choice, it didn't feel right because I thought maybe it could cause backlash and actually push people away. Considering, like with the Kenny Veach case, people at the time, very stern and like, this is the case, this is important, Anybody that's growing in any other way, they're corrupt, they're evil, they're nasty, shame on them. And, you know, if that's where you originated from and how one grew, and if I suddenly activated this and that, then I don't know, is it throwing it in people's faces? Is it disrespectful? Is it rude? Now, at the time of when things were enabled and activated, it was at the time of the Dylan Rounds case, and it was actually viewers. People reached out to me and said, I think, Raf, you should enable this, and you should create that. You should create a PayPal. You should do this. And I was like, I'm not too sure. I was hesitant. I felt a bit uneasy, but at times I thought, okay, just give it a try then. But in the background, don't talk about it too much. Keep it quiet, keep it low, and then see what happens. And like when it came to the memberships, which was, I think, first activated, I saw some people actually walk away from my channel, and I thought, oh God, this is not good. But in the end, it didn't throw people off. It didn't scare people off, okay? And in the end, people did show support and still do, which is very good. And at the start, I wasn't expecting it, but it happened, and that was very good to see. But it's just that original initial attitude that matters most. If a person is reluctant, it shows that they care in some way. If a person overthinks a situation, as problematic that may be, it just shows that the person cares because they want the best situation, the best outcome, the less damage caused, whatever the situation may be, right? There's consideration, there's thoughts of how it could impact something or someone. But all the people in the YouTube streets don't even think that. Just think, right, let's just rush on in. Let's get from start to finish. Let's fast track and just get as much as possible, as quick as possible. That's not the right way to go about stuff. People with that type of attitude, mentality, short lasting, not that can give a lifespan or an expiry date of channels out there, because when Jim Terry has done, it's not exactly ended up being true, because there are still channels out there that are still alive till this day in their own little gated community, right? As I said, I started from 2013 and still here, and whilst there's been some trouble and some difficult situations, as long as you use the correct language and wording, it should be under control and it should be fine. That's it in its own realm of analysis and situations. But yeah, in terms of certain changes in general, whether it be the topic, the theme, the case, whether it be added methods of showing support or other stuff, most of it has been advised from the viewers themselves, which is probably one of the best outcomes possible. The actual people that watch suggest things, and then the channel creator takes it on board, right? So in other situations out there, people may have taken it upon themselves to implement features, implement paywalls without the consideration of viewers. And that's got up people's backs. It's like alienating people. But if there was a time where thousands of people here said, can you make more member-only videos? And I'm saying thousands of people, just being realistic, then that's a suggestion from the viewers themselves, so you can take that on board. And it's just better that way round, because YouTube, shops, I guess you say most of the time, the customer is always right. So that can happen on YouTube too, because well, I don't view people as customers, where it's just a saying, right? It's just a saying that when it comes to shops, they maintain, because people go to get products or food, whatever. If the shop takes things into their own hands and, let's say, ups the prices, maybe the customers may protest and they've got like the final vote. So like with YouTube, in a sense, if you're a YouTuber and you grow and you get popular, well, that's because of viewers. That's because of the general public that put you there. And they themselves, the voting numbers, can choose to pull away too. So not that the creator should be controlled all the time by viewers, but you know, the viewers do play a big role in a channel becoming established. So when viewers do give out suggestions, and there's a consistency as well. A range of people are in agreement with a certain idea. You probably should take into consideration, right? I guess an example would be the Chris Kramer crispy donut. I forgot the backpackers that disappeared, the mystery. A few people have suggested that. I take that on board. I want to cover it when there's absolutely nothing else I can do. So my mind is blank. I need my mind to be blank so I can do the best coverage on that case. But I have noted it down just as a heads up to people, okay? So I think that highlights most of it. And I think it's a new feature. Linking back to the whole comparisons and competitive nature, when it comes to YouTube nowadays, within the last few months, there's been changes. So I can do a live premiere. There can be about 50 to 60 people watching. And by the end of that live premiere, when I go onto the view count in YouTube Studio, it will only say 16 people watched the video. How does that make sense? Over 40, 50 people watching live. And then once the video's ended, you look back at the views on the Studio app, it says 14. That's because the views haven't been calculated yet. So there's a delay. So besides the delay in people coming across your video and on catch up, there's also a delay in processing the view count of the people watching live. So take that in consideration. You know, there's been YouTube Streets channels where they've said, oh, look, that person over there said they've got 500 live viewers, and you can see it on the screen. They've got 500 live viewers, but then once it's ended, they've only got 22 views. Well, that must mean over 400 of them are bots and have been bought, and it's all fake. That is a very amateur mindset to have. What it can mean is, as I said, 400 or 500 people were watching live, but YouTube is taking time to calculate those individual views as actual individual people that viewed the video. So it might only calculate half of the 400 people watching, or even less, right? But it eventually catches up eventually. It's like with my short videos. You look at some of the short videos, it can say 700 views. But if I go into the YouTube Studio app, it actually says 2,000 viewers. Now that 2,000 figure will eventually be added to the main tile page of my short video, which then publicly people can see. But there is a delay, there is a catch up in stats. So when someone may see a high figure, but then later see a lower figure, they may think there's been manipulation, it's been faked, but it hasn't. There's a catch up, there's a delay in the YouTube processing, but clearly amateur people in the YouTube streets have a very one-dimensional flat mindset who don't understand. And that's where the failure lies. All those people in the YouTube streets that are so amateur in mindsets, they're in no position to compare or compete with others outside of that realm. They're not in a position to do so, okay? Now, I will admit, when you got some channels out there, such as Salty Pancakes, it is questionable where they may have a certain amount of subscribers, a certain amount of views, but really no likes, dislikes, and no comments at all. There's a lack of engagement. And if there's a lack of engagement, there are chances that it could be like an NPC, like a bot. Not that it is, but if it just feels kind of dead, right? Despite so many people being present, and based off the figures, as we said, for every 1,000 views, 100 likes, or for every this, there's that. If that doesn't quite play a role here, then you could say, maybe there's something going on. Maybe there's a chance. Not a guarantee, but there's a chance, okay? I mean, like when Indiana 59, and this is just a retrospective observation, aside from the other stuff, when Indiana 59 suggested that I was buying subscribers or buying views, as Indiana highlighted, and said, I'm doing a Salty Pancakes. Okay, well, Indiana 59 at the time believed that Salty Pancakes was buying views and subscribers. Did you hear that, Salty Pancakes? That's not coming from my mouth. That's what someone else said, Indiana 59. Okay? No misunderstandings there. Now, Indiana wasn't saying that I did, but it looked like. So if I did say I've got 500,000 viewers, 1 million viewers after the end of this year or so, and you look at my individual videos, on average, I'm getting about 400, 500 views. Well, that doesn't quite add up, does it? A video a day, or a video every 1 to 2 days or so, 500 views. At the end of the year, that wouldn't total 1 million views. Not at all. You'd be off by a long shot. As said, every video you upload on your channel, as long as it's public, it will always gain the possibility of views, right? If videos can go viral from 7 to 10 years ago, for over 7 years, it's been at 5 views. The next year, after all those years of silence, it gets 27 million, right? It's happened. So my videos, not every one, because some do have a lifespan and some are completely deadlined and flatline because of the algorithm, because of YouTube and their agendas. But videos that may have performed well for me in the early stages at the time of when I uploaded it tend to have a longer shelf span. So for a longer shelf span means a longer time of getting progressive, passive views over time. Just like that short video where it got 100,000 views within a few weeks or so. But it's still growing now at a slower rate, yes, but it's still growing. With the Dylan Rounds videos that I did, although they got a fair few views short term, long term, people did not come back to those videos. New people did not return back to those videos. Maybe in the future, but there's no guarantee. With Kenny Veach, I can upload a video right now, it might get 500-600 views. 4 months later, it could be at 10,000, 50,000. It can explode. It's like a minefield. You can lay down a lot of mines in a field. Doesn't mean to say people are going to step on them immediately, but down the line, someone will at some point, and then it will explode, right? And just in general, if you've got a good video, a bad video, if you get lucky with the lottery and YouTube favour you, you'll do well regardless. Short term, long term, it can happen. But for those in a gated community, in a niche, in the YouTube streets, where it favours a certain form of toxicity, it's not exactly going to grow, is it? When strangers want nothing to do with it, when short videos are made, strangers want nothing to do with it, when YouTube themselves want nothing to do with it. I mean, all these people in the YouTube streets, they're going about some view, they're going about some views or some live concurrent viewers. What are their impressions like? What's their click-through rate? What's their RPM? What's their CPM statistics? Do they even know what those figures mean? Have they even looked at it? What's their projected growth, right, over the months? The click-through rate is extremely important. The average view duration is very important. If you're lacking there, then likely the video is just not going to perform well with time. What's your thumbnail like? Okay? Does it stand out? Are you using a certain scheme? Are you using a certain colour scheme? Right? Using keywords or not? Are you using hashtags or not? There's a lot of depth behind it. Now, granted, there's a lot of experts out there that talk about all this, and their channels aren't exactly doing that well. So there is still luck involved, but there are certain methods and features you can change and adjust to better yourself. But people in that safe space, that boring place where they're just going round in circles, claiming that they don't care, but they must care to keep doing it in the first place, yeah, they're not going to branch away. That's just reality, okay? So I just wanted to share my thoughts with you and my experiences and be honest, okay? Whether it be that I've failed or I'm doing well at this moment in time, I just wanted to highlight to you the situation on YouTube, the stats, the figures, what certain things mean, okay? I mean, like the RPM, the CPM thing has to do with the whole monetary stuff, the advertiser thing. CPM, RPM, one's based off what you would actually receive based on 1,000 views, and then the other one is based on what you would receive on that amount of views based on your impressions, right? Impressions are the amount of people in which your video has been presented to them on the front page, on the tab section. Do you know when you look through videos in general on YouTube and you see a lot of suggested videos which may not be of interest to you, but you have seen it, right? That counts as impressions. So if my video showed up in your live feeds, times that by many people, I would have a certain amount of impressions. Take this into mind, okay? One of my most popular Kenny Veach videos has about 160,000 views. 160,000 people have watched my Kenny Veach video. How many impressions did it receive? Over 1 million. I have a couple of videos, quite a few, what do you call it? Maybe about 4 or 5 videos on my channel which have over 1 million impressions. So if people that saw that video and it was presented to them and 5 million impressions clicked on that video, that would have a positive impact to the click-through rate. Okay, the click-through rate is when people decide to make that decision to go from being suggested the video, the impression, to then actually clicking on it, which is a click-through rate because they decide to click on it and watch. Now, 1 million impressions, 160,000 views. 1 million people didn't click on it, okay, but it was presented to them as an opportunity. The positive is that YouTube presented it to 1 million people. I wasn't being silenced, which is a good thing. YouTube was trying to push my video out there. And a fair range of people did watch it, but more could have, okay? What about people on the YouTube streets? I can imagine their impressions aren't going to be anywhere near as high as what I labelled. I said, not a competition, but it's a valid point because if they're in a niche, the impressions are going to be much lower. If you cover something that's maybe popular or new, yes, it can attract people, but it can also be put out there to a broader range of individuals. The majority of humans out there won't give a shit about the YouTube streets, the eye patch, the shaving the hair off, the sticking butter wherever there is a hole, or ginger cats or ginger hair. The majority of people aren't going to care about that, right? But if you cover something that people do care about, then more people are likely to watch. So it all comes down to, are you about growth or not? If not, that's fine. But if you're going to start comparing and contrasting and competing with a person that's about growth, there's no start to begin with. There's no competition, right? And even when people have inner competitions within a realm of where there's valid reliability and test subjects and there's no biasness, it's still waste of time. And it contradicts their overall mentality and attitude of, oh, I'm just here because I want to. I'm just here because it's casual. It's just on the sideline. It's just a part-time thing. It doesn't mean much. Real life is where it's all at. Well, if it does, then why are you even trying then on YouTube? I think there's a hidden agenda going on. People can't make their minds up. Well, they were never able to in the first place. So that pretty much clears that all up, right? Doesn't it? All under control here. Hopefully people understood the video and hopefully it didn't come across as negative. I was just being realistic and honest about my channel, about my performance, whether it fails or does well, and taking it into perspective with all the other out there, not competing all them out there with myself because you can't compete, you can't compare. The variables and factors don't match up, don't align, so you can't, right? Whether they do well or bad, whether you do better or not, comparisons can't be made, but comparisons within have been made by those people out there. But is it worthwhile? Is it really a good idea? No. And for those out there that do claim to care about Dylan Rounds, for example, if they really cared about Dylan Rounds, they wouldn't be involving Dylan's name in all that drama and conflict in that sense. Now people could say, well, don't I say Dylan Rounds drama, Dylan Rounds community? Because the drama's been injected by others into the case. And I've come in to extract it like a doctor. Okay? So, on that basis, based on time and everything, it's getting a bit late. Let me just make one quick adjustment. Okay? Give me a second. So, what do you see here? What you see here is high-end fashion, okay? Laura, are you jealous? So you should. Ron Tello, are you jealous? Yeah? Well, so am I, Ron, because you're wearing that scarf and it belongs to me. Not quite. So, with this on, where did this dress come from? It came from Laura's house. Dale stole it. He then sell it on the black market to me. Why have I got it? I don't really know. It's getting a bit itchy. I wonder why. And don't be confused by Raf's royal red robe. That's something completely different of higher standards. But that aside, oh God, it looks like it's time, isn't it? We don't even have to tell the time. We don't even need clocks because it's already ticking and it's already showing. But now, completely unrelated to what was talked about before, in case you're wondering, but I heard that Cleo needs a small checkup. Cleo needs a brief consultation appointment. So just roll up the sleeves. Cleo, you said your poles are blocked. Can you show me your pole? Okay. Okay. It appears that there's a hole in your pole. It's very dark. Cleo, it appears that your pole has a hole and it appears to be enlarged. Now, does this quite compare to Dale's enlarged pole? No, this is something never seen before. So what needs to be done, Cleo, is your pole needs to be unclogged, okay? So I don't have a glove, but my hand is clean. So what I need to do, okay, get the finger in. How far does it go? It goes so far in. Could do a lot better. That's what Watcher Crazy said. So if I pull my hand out, it's clean. That's positive. Now if I use my middle finger, which is much longer, how far can I go on in? Twist, turn. Yeah, I can feel that there's a blockage. Cleo, we need to operate fast, okay? Now, one last question. How many fingers can I fit into Cleo's pole? 2? It's very tight. It's gripping on the sides of the wall. That's a bit tough. Ooh, and tight. What about if I use the thumb? That goes in. Can I use 2 fingers and a thumb? Only a few inches. I can only go a few inches in. Sorry to disappoint you, Cleo. But I think there is room for improvement and there's a way to unclog your pole so as many fingers can be placed in and a whole fist as well. Now, why would you need to do that in the first place? Ask Dale. Dale seems to be the one that knows it all about that type of stuff. Maybe it's the time he spent at Five Guys, but, that's not for me to talk about, right? I haven't experienced that, so I wouldn't really know. But what I do know is there is a doctor's appointment right around the corner. So, put your pole away, Cleo, for a second. What we need to do is clear your pipes, okay? So I'm just going to blow into your pipes, Cleo, okay? Give me a second. Oh, Dale is dancing up and down and clapping his hands. Oh, Dale, get your little tambourine out and your little drum kit. Oh, Dale. Right. So, Cleo, I've blown the cobwebs off your pipe so you can breathe better now. That should improve your blood flow, your oxygen levels, and just improve better performance. Okay, Cleo? So what we need to do now is operate on your pole. As said, your pole has a hole, but only 2 fingers fit in, and even that is quite a tight demand. So what needs to be done, I need to whip your pole, Cleo, by whipping and stimulating the pole, it will lead to it reducing in size, okay? It will slow down the blood flow. Trust me, I'm an expert. So we don't have a gag to hold on to because it could be a bit uncomfortable. But Cleo, if you just hold this dynamite for me, that will help, okay? No. Hold on before people complain. I owned this dynamite before Mr. X did, okay? Take that in consideration. The receipt say so, okay? What does it actually say? Made in China. Well, that's not dodgy. Cleo, hold on to this Chinese dynamite, okay? Don't worry, it's not going to blow. Watch Your Crazy's already done that with the printer. So, we got your pole, Cleo. I'm going to whip it. For good measure, I'll whip myself just to make sure this has been disinfected. Sasquatch, why are you in the waiting room? You need an appointment as well? A quick an appointment? Okay, Sasquatch. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Sasquatch. I think I whipped a bird nest off your head. Don't worry, the eggs are okay. Anyway, Watcher Crazy. What's that? Yeah? What's that, Watcher? Watcher, it's not your time, okay? It might be time for this, but it's not time for you. Sorry to disappoint you. And anyway, homegirl, you did not show up on Warlike Raph's B-Day video. Oh my God. You got more priorities elsewhere? So jealous, my goodness. But guess what? It's just Robbie. Out of all the times of the days and weeks, Robbie showed up. And let me tell you something, Robbie was even dressed as Spider-Man. He was even delivering parcels and packages on the day. Robbie, his hair not moving because it's as stiff as, I don't know. Anyway, shout out to Robbie or some person called Robbie showing up. Watch Your Crazy, you got some lessons to learn, right? Anyway, you ready, Cleo? You ready? Whipping your pole? Yeah? Yeah? It's like the cowbells are ringing. Yeehaw! And what you can do with this whip, do you know like when you're carving wood and you know when you scrape it off, shaving wood down with those scrapers? Now, I'm sure Wes Thump the Stump Lump will understand. Wes Stump is grinding and carving wood 24/7. He needs somebody to chop his own wood down, okay? Because it's just growing. Wes's wood hasn't stopped growing since 1987. So someone needs to be able to maintain that, okay? Anyway, besides that, Cleo, many uses this whip has, okay? It can grip onto the pole, and when you go up and down, it will scrape off any excess material. So by the time you've ended up getting rid of most of it, you're going to make it a lot thinner, you're going to reduce the swelling, and you'll be able to function again. Now, everybody has their own speed. Some do it fast, some do it slow, okay? But it needs to be done as quick as possible for this procedure to work. So a few gentle taps, a few up and downs. Oh, it slipped. Oops. Up and down, slap, slap, up and down. And what should be able to happen is when you crank it, it detaches. So, don't worry, Cleo, I have not broken or snapped your pole. Dale and Matt Lingo are crossing their legs right now because they're afraid, but don't worry. So I have detached your pole to create a knob ending, okay? So it means it's shorter in length. Now, I know, maybe that's not good news if it's shorter in length, but it means it's more functional now, okay? So Cleo, your pole, your hole is a lot bigger. I can fit my thumb and finger in, meaning it's unclogged, okay? Now, we could use some like material as well just to clean the inside and out. there we go. So if I just installed the pole back into you, lock it in place, there we go. It's all fixed. So hopefully, once again, another patient, another happy ending. Okay? No, not that. A good outcome, I should say. Slip of the words. So, because you're on good behaviour, Cleo, you done well. You didn't resist. You stuck with it. You can have a lollipop. Okay? Here's a lollipop. Dale! Dale! Stop sucking on Joy Perry's pops. Okay? You spat water out your can yesterday. You got wet, more wet than when Laura tried. That's not a good look, is it? Even Matt Lingo is giggling away. Even Katie Marie is, because she's winning in competitions at workplaces. Who's got the most action? This panpipe has. It's been blown into more times than Watcher of Crazy's printer ink cartridges, but that is no comparison here. It's completely unrelated. But you know Matt Lingo? Matt Lingo, oh, you're over there. Do you want Joy Perry's pops? Do you want to suck on Joy Perry's pops? No. Dale, do you? You're nodding your head, but you're smiling, so I think you're conflicted with your thoughts. Is that because you're held at gunpoint with Laura? Oh, Dale. Just be careful when you drink liquid next time. You don't want to have another wet lap, okay? Inky Pinky has had to go through a change of clothes 5 times in one night through a live premiere. Stony, stuck in a rock and a hard place, had to basically run out of clothing because she kept pissing herself, laughing. So, you know, Dale, don't be another one. Don't go there. Hold it together. Can you do that, Dale? Yeah? You're gonna be a good boy? Okay. Joy's pops. Just remember. Joy pops. Sucky sucky. No. Don't worry, Cleo. This is a lollipop. It's not what was mentioned just then. It's safe, it's okay. I don't know why it's a bit bent. Why is it curved? Oh, it's probably because when Betty Hayward was preparing for whipping, Betty Hayward at first wasn't able to take it big. You know, a big whip, it was too much. So you had to start off small, work your way up, because the bigger the whip, the more damage it can cause. But a small little thin thing like this, not as bad. But I think because it whacked Betty Hayward on her headband, ricocheted, and it bent it. Damn, that's a shame. Anyway, forget all that. Cleo, can you hand me back the dynamite? Thank you. We'll put that there. Don't worry, it's not real. And there's your lollipop, Cleo. Do you want a sticker as well? Unfortunately, I don't have one at this moment, but next time I'll try and get one. Anyway, looks like another happy customer. 100% positive feedback. Yeah. So, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, whether it be the light-hearted part at the end of this or the serious part throughout. Long video, but this was all done in one take, no script, okay? It also means I'll be able to upload the video probably a bit easier without the editing. There is a small chance that the length of the video and the file size could take some time to upload, so if the video doesn't directly come out tonight, it should be the day after, just as a heads up if things go wrong. But in general, thanks to those that did show up and did watch, appreciate that. I'll see you next time, but for now, goodbye and good night.